card from Andy Schaller.
I'd like to start by saying thank you to the board for actually turning this matter over to the internal auditor and the internal audit committee almost a year ago now. Thank you to Commissioner Vanna for heading up that task. I think that the audit report that came back was a wonderful trailer for a movie that we haven't seen yet. And without going into all the reasons that are on the record that I spoke to during the internal audit meeting, one of the more troubling things of the audit itself was Mr. Bergeron's comment that after 9 months, 1,000 hours of audit time, that the issue of a 12-lot dirt road was complex and beyond the scope of the audit department. And he didn't have the resources to continue the audit on any of the other issues he was unable to touch upon in that period of time. The road program is such now that the road that was in question here is now underwater. In your own audit report, you will find out that there has been evidence from contractors, independent contractors, that there were problems with the road design and the ultimate elevations that county staff, Mr. Webb, had omitted and told you a different story after he had received those documents. If you were to look at the audit report, you'll find many inconsistencies and just it's flat out incomplete. But I'll say again, the principle that we would spend 9 months, 1,000 hours, and come back and say a dirt road that's been county owned for 12 years is too complex and beyond the scope of the audit department tells me we need to simplify things. We need to look at standard practices and procedures that we've done in this county as far as roads go for nearly 100 years that the county's been around. And I'd really like to see the rest of the audit report done, or more importantly, let's at least address the issues that have taken 1,000 hours of Mr. Bergeron's office time. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a bigger issue. Is Mr. Schaller right that we spent 1,000 hours on this?
Well,
that's a bigger issue to me than all the reports.
We spent 687 hours reviewing the survey and contract management section of engineering services. We spent 575 hours looking at the Fargo or the Ranchettes project and the rest of the MSTU program.
So you spent 500 and how many hours?
575 hours on the MSTU side of the project, 687 on the balance. We issued 2 separate reports on this project.
On this project, 2 separate reports.
Yes, sir. We had the engineering service.
So you're telling me that you have more than 1,200 hours on this project?
Yes, sir.
You want to know something? What did it cost staff to do 1,200 hours?
Our billing rate's approximately $120 an hour, so that's $144,000.
No, I think it's more than that. But if it was $144,000, okay, just, anybody got a calculator? I got it. Okay.
It's not on the back of the fiscal impact analysis.
What does it say?
It doesn't say anything. It says it's part of the audit work plan.
You got almost 1,200 hours times $144 an hour, $172,800.
It's $120
You know
an hour.
something? Spending $172,800 on this, on Fargo, we would have been better off hiring an outside engineer to take a look at it, to get it done in a reasonable period of time, come with a conclusion and get it done, or use that $172,800 towards the project and go forward with it. I think it's unconscionable to spend on that road. I know it's a big issue to the people that live there, but to spend $172,800 on staff time on that and not come to a really no conclusion whatsoever is absolutely a waste of dollars and a waste of time. And I think that any time you come into something, this is my personal opinion, and you think that you're going to have to end up spending over 1,200 hours on one thing, it better be something that's worth $300, $500, $700 million. We didn't spend that much money in analyzing scripts.
I should have.
That's my opinion. Commissioner, what was the recommendation of the Audit Committee to the Engineering Department on how to fix it? After 1,262 hours, should there be a recommendation on how to fix it?
And in retrospect, it might have been cheaper to make the decision prior to the audit. That just fixed the...
1,262 hours divided by 24 hours in a day comes to 53 days, 53 solid days on something like this. 53 days, there are 365 days in a year. Stop and think what 53 days takes. If we can't come up with some conclusions on something like this, which is so small in the scope of things that we do in this county, then the Audit Committee better say, we can't do it if it's going to take this long, and if it takes this long, we ought to hire outside consultants to come in.
Mr. Chairman?
That's not my...
I understand you have...
My question to you is, you as the county administrator, who I praised so much before, could you condone 53 days of working on this project by an audit committee?
No.
that are just fixed, and some are not, to my belief, was not in-depth enough. This, the Audit Committee did continue to oversee Mr. Bergeron in his work. I believe that it's the findings that he said were atypical. They were unusual experiences that were negative to the people in that area, and so hopefully we can find a way that this doesn't set a precedent if we decide to do something for them.
I in no way am criticizing the Audit Committee, nor am I really criticizing Mr. Bergeron. But there becomes a point in time when you evaluate the cost and effect, or the upside gain and the downside risk. And we've approved up here many, many Audit Committee reports, never questioning any of them. But when somebody comes forward, as Mr. Schaller did, and pointed out that was over 1,000 hours, and now we find out that it was 1,262 hours that were devoted on it, I think at some point in time, the auditor, not the Audit Committee, the auditor at one point in time and say, wait a second, we've gone too far on this. I think it's something that we cannot solve. There's too many hours on it, and we've expended the amount. Just as we have an item that we said just now, the item before, that it was $833,000 was the cap on it, there should be a cap on the amount of hours put in on certain projects. And all I'm saying is wasting 1,262 hours and not coming really, and not solving the problem at all, to me is not good business practice.